Hello and welcome to this video tutorial series on creating a water cycle animation in Adobe Animate, right here. In this first video, we'll be introducing you to the Adobe Animate interface, so you can get familiar with the tools and features you'll be using throughout the rest of the series. Let's start by taking a look at the main areas of the interface. At the top of the screen, you'll see the menu bar, which contains all the different menus and options you can use to create and edit your animation. The menu bar is an essential part of the Adobe Animate interface, as it provides access to all the different features and functions you'll need to create your animation. The menus are organized by category, such as File, Edit, View, Modify, and Window. If you'd like to follow along and your screen looks different from mine, go to the Window menu, select Workspaces, and then Reset Essentials. In the center of the interface, you'll see the stage, which is where you'll be placing and animating your graphic content. The stage is where you'll be able to see your animation come to life. It's where you'll be able to see how your objects move and interact with each other. Below the stage, you'll see the timeline, which is what you'll be using to animate your objects and control the timing of your animation. You'll be able to add and edit frames, layers, and keyframes here. Again, this important part of the interface will be explained a little later in this video. On the left side of the screen, you'll see the toolbar, which contains all the tools you'll need to create and manipulate your objects. You'll be able to draw, paint, select, and transform objects using the tools in this toolbar. I will show you some of the tools we shall be using for the water cycle animation in a moment. On the right side of the screen, you'll see the library, which contains all the assets you'll be using in your animation. You'll be able to import images, sounds, and other media files into your library, and then use them in your animation. Finally, there are a few other areas of the interface that you might find useful, such as the Properties panel, which allows you to edit the properties of your objects, and the Actions panel, which allows you to add interactivity to your animation if you wish. So, now, let's use a few objects on the stage and later animate a few of them. Before adding anything to the stage, we need to talk more about layers right here. Layers help you organize objects in your animation. It's good practice to create a new layer for each object that is to be animated. One way to put assets onto the stage is by using images or graphics in the library. In order to populate the library, you should ideally have prepared assets to use for your project. In my case, I have a number of images, as you can see here. To add images to the library, go to File, Import, and then Import to the library. To use the asset from the library, create a new layer and label it accordingly. We shall label it First Layer. Click on the layer, then go to the library, select an image, and drag it to the stage. Another way to add assets to the stage is to draw them. Let us create a new layer and label it Oval 1 because we shall draw an oval in this layer. To draw the oval, we shall first remove visibility from the previous layer such that we don't get interrupted by the objects of the other layers. To remove visibility, click on this eye icon once. To make the layer visible again, click on the eye icon the second time. But for now, I will remove the visibility. Now go to the toolbar and select the Oval tool. The mouse cursor should look like this. On the stage, click where you want to start drawing and drag to where the oval should end. When done, you can change the color of the oval. Use the Selection tool here and click on the oval. Go to the Properties panel, then select a fill color under Color and Style. I will select yellow. We shall now work on learning how to animate our objects. All animation shall be created using the timeline. The timeline consists of layers and a timeline section which is divided into frames and time in seconds. The default frames per second of Adobe Animate is 30, which is what we are using here. Frames per second, FPS, is a measure of how many images are shown on the screen every second. It is used to control the smoothness of the animation. The higher the frames per second, the smoother the animation will look. We shall create a 2-second animation of our oval to move from left to right. So, the oval starts in the position we have placed it on the stage. At the 2-second mark, we want the oval to be on the right side of the stage. When we created the oval, a keyframe was created. A keyframe in animation is a frame that defines the start or end point of an animation. So at the 2-second mark, we need to create a keyframe that shall define the end point of the animation. Right-click and select Insert Keyframe. Make sure that the keyframe is selected, then move the oval to where it should be. To create the animation, right-click anywhere in the middle of the two keyframes and create a classic tween. You will be prompted to convert the oval into a symbol. Click on Yes and Animate will create the animation. To test the animation, click on the first frame and then play. Let's now create another animation of our oval. Create a new layer, name it Oval 2. Again, let's remove visibility from the Oval 1 layer as we did for the first layer. Draw Oval 2 onto the stage at the first frame. We want this new oval to have a color change animation. So, in the beginning, it is a red, and at the 2-second mark, we want it to be yellow. So, here at the 2-second mark, create a new keyframe, then click on the oval using the selection tool. Go to the Properties panel, under Color and Style, and change the fill color of the oval to yellow. Now, right-click again anywhere between the two keyframes and create a shape tween. A shape tween is a kind of animation that helps us to either change a particular shape into another, or change the properties of the shape like the color in this case. To test the animation, click on the first frame and then play. If you have been following along, congratulations, you have created your first animations with Adobe Animate. So that's a quick overview of the Adobe Animate interface. In the next video, we'll be diving into the first step of creating our water cycle animation.